flash, cameras clicking quick. Showtime, Super Gringo slick. Headlines buzzing like a mix. 20 seconds, that's the fix. Short and sharp, just like a dart. Gringo's antics steal your heart. In a flash, the show will start. Super shorts, that's where we part. Short and sharp, just like a dart. Gringo's antics steal your heart. In a flash, the show will start. Super shorts, that's where we part.
Welcome to Monday. Let's see what lunacy the left has for me today.
Employing an emoji in such contexts may indeed reflect a desire to soften the blow of inadequacy, much like gilding the lily, an attempt to embellish what may otherwise be unremarkable.
Let me say it out loud for you so maybe you'll understand how stupid it really sounds. This NFL draft is ridiculous. I think we need to make a rule that instead of taking the best player, they need to take one of every race. And I think they should add a sexual orientation and gender, because I guess there's like 57 of them, before picking the top talent. Again, see how stupid DEI sounds?
Are you fucking getting it yet?
If saying leave the kids alone is an attack on a certain group of people, that group of people needs to be attacked. You know, like stop hiring them to teach your kids and shit.
She identifies as hers. Factory reset, didn't work. Pride in the non-binary. You can feel the pronouns leaving the body. Right in the vapors. No surgery needed then. Transaction denied. Ooh, at an equal rise. Told like she got down in Fortnite. Trying to kick flip, learn how to do a lip slide. She gender fluid everywhere. It almost became almost where. That's a cheap way to transition. Right in the pencil, right in the transmission. Flat slam, right in the mystery box. Straight in the who knows what, like you see a run at an ATM. All black Betty, jammed your clown. Busted your lip for show. They wait, the more Peter Stan was later, Tony Hawk.
You know, I kind of want to try it.
Are you fucking getting it yet?
I think I mentioned it earlier. You do know why he changed the name from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? Because on his way out the door, old Puddin'Brain banned oil drilling in the Gulf of Mexico. Well, if you don't have a Gulf of Mexico, that rule is null and void.
Seen as a constitutional scholar, oversaw a secretive program of targeted killings with no legal oversight and, most importantly, no due process. So when people tell you President Trump is dangerous and a threat to democracy, how do they explain the one who redefined due process by remote control? He bypasses due process, approves lethal strikes without trial, targets U.S. citizens from the air, and no court has ever had a say. That's actually what happened, not under Donald Trump, but under Barack Obama, the 44th President of the United States. Under Obama, the U.S. government carried out drone strikes on American citizens abroad, including Anwar al-Awlaki, killed in Yemen in 2011, with no charges, no trial, no judge, and most importantly, no explanation was ever officially given. Civil liberty groups condemned it as a precedent for extrajudicial assassinations. And yet, there were no hearings, no charges, no accountability. Obama, widely seen as a constitutional scholar, oversaw a secretive program of targeted killings with no legal oversight and, most importantly, no due process. So when people tell you President Trump is dangerous and a threat to democracy, how do they explain the one who redefined due process by remote control?
So, hold on. Richard decided to come over and pay Grumpy a visit. Richard is one of Grumpy's top loony leftist haters. Of course, he never has anything intelligent to say. Literally, I don't have to watch CNN or MSNBC. I just read what Richard posts, and it's usually just those news, I use the term news loosely, sources, talking points listed, and yeah, he's not the brightest, as sharp as a knife in the drawer. So what did the Wonder Tard have to say?
The whole world is realigning. Trump turned our allies to China. The Biden administration put people back to work the infrastructure bill. All Trump did was cut taxes for the wealthy, then complain about the deficit. He grew the largest in history. Also, Trump had to bail out farmers because of tariffs.
You see what I mean? CNN, MSNBC, all lies, by the way. Imagine thinking you put people to work when you put them out of work in the first place. Now for my responses.
Not, but if it helps you sleep. Unpacking the economic landscape. A look at Trump versus Biden in the ever-polarized landscape of American politics. Discussions around economic performance often become battlegrounds for ideological warfare. The recent claims regarding unemployment rates and inflation under the Trump and Biden administrations offer fertile ground for this discourse. Proponents of Donald Trump argue that his policies led to unprecedented economic stability, while critics of Joe Biden lament the consequences of his administration's decisions. This blog post seeks to delve into these claims, providing an authoritative analysis of the key factors that shaped economic conditions during both presidencies. One of the most frequently cited achievements of Trump's presidency is the record low unemployment rate, which reached a staggering 50-year low prior to the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to various economic indicators, job creation surged under Trump's administration as he implemented tax cuts and deregulation aimed at stimulating growth. The result? A thriving job market that provided opportunities for millions across various sectors. These policies not only encouraged businesses to expand but also fostered an environment where consumer confidence flourished, leading to increased spending and investment. Moreover, the stock experienced significant gains during this period, further bolstering perceptions of economic prosperity. Conversely, critics argue that the current administration has not only failed to maintain these gains but has also presided over rising inflation that burdens everyday Americans. With prices soaring by approximately 40% since Biden took office, many are left questioning how such a drastic shift occurred so quickly. This inflationary trend has affected essential goods and services, from groceries to gas prices, prompting widespread concern among families trying to make ends meet. The juxtaposition between the economic stability experienced under Trump and the current financial strain felt by many citizens under Biden's leadership highlights a critical point of contention in contemporary political discourse. The economic turbulence experienced today can largely be traced back to aggressive monetary policies undertaken in response to the pandemic. Under Biden's leadership, over $2 trillion was printed to provide financial relief amid widespread shutdowns. While well-intentioned, Such actions have undeniably contributed to inflationary pressures that exacerbate costs for consumers on essential goods and services. This influx of cash into the economy, while necessary to support struggling businesses and individuals during unprecedented times, has led many economists to warn about potential long-term consequences, including the risk of hyperinflation if not managed carefully. Supporters of Trump point out this connection between excessive money printing and rising prices, asserting that a more cautious approach could have mitigated these effects. They argue that prudent fiscal management could have preserved the economic gains achieved prior to the pandemic while avoiding the drastic price hikes currently being felt across various sectors. In stark contrast, detractors often focus on scapegoating Trump as a fascist, without addressing how his policies encouraged economic growth without draconian measures like business closures or mandatory vaccinations. This tendency to oversimplify complex issues undermines meaningful dialogue about effective governance and responsible economic policy. A significant point of contention in this debate is how each administration managed the COVID-19 crisis. Critics have leveled accusations against Trump for his handling of the pandemic. However, it's crucial to note that he did not impose nationwide lockdowns nor mandate vaccines, choices that ultimately fell to state governments and individual citizens. This decentralized approach allowed for varied responses based on local circumstances but also resulted in a patchwork of policies that some argue led to confusion and inconsistency in public health messaging. Under Biden's administration, despite extensive vaccination campaigns aimed at curbing virus transmission and promoting public health safety, more Americans succumbed to COVID-19 than during Trump's tenure, an uncomfortable statistic for those who continued to criticize Trump's pandemic response. This raises essential questions about accountability and effectiveness in crisis management. It invites a deeper examination of how governmental decisions impact public health outcomes and economic stability in times of crisis. As we navigate through these complex issues surrounding unemployment rates, inflation, and pandemic responses, it becomes clear that both administrations have had their successes and failures. The narrative surrounding Trump's economic legacy contrasts sharply with current grievances under Biden's leadership. While Trump's era is often characterized by robust job growth and stock market highs, Biden's tenure has been marked by significant challenges related to inflation and public health management. In an era where political polarization clouds judgment, it is vital for citizens to critically assess facts rather than succumb to partisan rhetoric. Understanding economic realities, like unemployment figures and inflation dynamics, is essential for making informed decisions about our leaders and their policies. By fostering a culture of informed debate rooted in factual analysis rather than emotional reactions or party loyalty, citizens can contribute meaningfully to discussions about our nation's future direction and hold elected officials accountable for their actions in shaping our economy and society at large.
You can go over and read the rest of them yourself. But who sounds more intelligent with more well thought out and researched talking points? I'm going to guess it's probably me. Now, I totally agree with the man's rights rest in three boxes: the ballot box, the jury box, and the cartridge box. And if you read my books, we talk about everyone's civic responsibility as well as their rights. You have responsibilities within those three. Now read some of the comments down here and you'll figure out what's wrong with the country. See, they messed with the Constitution. The founders knew men weren't angels. If men were angels, we wouldn't need government, would we? But read some of my books, you'll find out why the founders did what they did. They were not stupid. Americans today are stupid. He was wrong. Voting has never worked and won't ever work. Keep in mind, 1 in 4 high school graduates in America can't read above a 6th grade level. Nothing but a benevolent dictator can provide national stability if people are not morally true in their own lives. Here's an idea: stop fucking with the Constitution. It was written the way it was specifically for that reason. Not when the people allow corruption to occur and expand generation to generation. Yeah, because you keep fucking with the Constitution. We now have a 4th branch of government called the bureaucracy. Guess where most of that corruption comes from? The bureaucracy. They keep kicking back money to politicians so they get more and more power. Then you got this idiot, democracy. We're not a democracy, stupid. We're a republic. Places like, North Korea is a democracy. Of course, you only have one party to vote for, but you do get to vote. And yes, it's one of my favorite tropes that they try to throw out there. No, talk about the millions killed by capitalism. No, you're the one that brought it up. You have to. But they never can. They just throw that out there and then, call you names for the next hour.
We are no longer Democrats or Republicans. We are either patriots fighting the Trump regime, or we are complicit in its tyranny. There is no middle ground. Now is the time for all of us to become activists.
Reite, The American Left, From Liberalism to Despotism. This comprehensive examination of the American left traces its evolution from classical liberalism to contemporary radical ideologies and critiques. The introduction sets the stage for understanding the foundations of American political thought, highlighting the origins and characteristics of liberalism. In Chapter 1, the text delves into the philosophical underpinnings of liberalism, emphasizing the influence of thinkers like John Dewey and the implications of Freudian psychology. Subsequent chapters explore significant historical events, such as the New Deal and World War II, which transformed liberalism into quantitative and qualitative forms, respectively. The rise of the radical left is discussed in Chapter 5, where existentialist critiques and C. Wright Mill's perspectives on power structures are analyzed. The civil rights movement and its complexities are examined in Chapter 6, revealing diverging ideologies within black communities and shifts in leadership perspectives, particularly Martin Luther King Jr.'s evolving views. The emergence of the student New Left in Chapter 7 reflects broader societal changes and critiques surrounding identity politics, which are further explored in Chapter 12. The feminist movement's dynamics are outlined in Chapter 8, detailing its evolution and impact on societal norms, while Chapter 9 addresses the sexual revolution's significance in reshaping sexual norms and politics. As radical ideologies infiltrate institutions, Chapter 10, the narrative transitions to the emergence of neoliberal consensus in Chapter 11, marking a philosophical shift away from traditional liberalism. The final chapters critically assess identity politics and discuss the potential drift towards despotism within leftist movements, highlighting issues such as censorship and the weaponization of justice. Overall, this work provides a detailed analysis of how American leftist thought has transformed over time, raising important questions about freedom, identity politics, and the future direction of political discourse in America.
Fascist rhetoric.
Babbling moron. See, I can do it too. Difference, my book is sourced. You're just a babbling moron. See how that works? I'm going to babble about a book I've never read, reinforcing the assertion that leftists are poorly educated. How the left became so poorly educated, but so highly indoctrinated. Introduction. The political landscape has shifted dramatically over the past few decades, leading to a burgeoning divide between different ideological groups. Amongst these divisions, a significant observation has emerged regarding the left, characterized by a perceived decline in critical educational standards and a rise in ideological indoctrination. This essay explores the roots of this phenomenon, examining the factors contributing to the left's educational challenges and the nature of indoctrination within its ranks. Through an analysis of educational systems, cultural influences, social media dynamics, and institutional bias, this essay aims to provide a comprehensive understanding of how these elements interplay to shape contemporary leftist thought. Historical context. To understand the current educational and ideological landscape, we must first reflect on the historical evolution of leftist thought. The left has traditionally emphasized social justice, equity, and the empowerment of marginalized groups. However, the late 20th century saw an ideological shift influenced by postmodernism, critical theory, and a focus on identity politics. Hunter, 2020. These new doctrines prioritized certain ideological frameworks, at times prioritizing adherence to these beliefs over critical engagement with diverse viewpoints. In this context, educational institutions, where leftist ideologies proliferate, began to shift. Instead of fostering critical thinking skills, the focus increasingly turned toward ways of promoting ideological conformity. This trend raised concerns about the quality of education and the breadth of perspectives available to students, leading to a generation that may struggle with independent thought. The role of educational institutions. Many argue that educational institutions have become breeding grounds for a particular brand of leftist thought. This perspective is substantiated by several trends within higher education. The overrepresentation of left-leaning faculty, particularly in the humanities and social sciences, leads to a homogeneous ideological environment. Stanger, 2018. According to a study by the Higher Education Research Institute, there has been a significant increase in students identifying as left-leaning compared to their conservative counterparts. This disparity impacts classroom dynamics, where dissenting opinions may be discouraged or even silenced, fostering an environment ripe for indoctrination rather than critical discourse. Harrison, 2021. Furthermore, curricula often emphasize social justice initiatives and critique of traditional power structures, leaving little room for alternative perspectives. Such educational practices can result in a form of education that prioritizes ideological allegiance over the development of critical analytical skills essential for rigorous academic engagement. As students are educated within this framework, their ability to engage openly with dissenting viewpoints may diminish significantly. Indoctrination through cultural influences. As educational institutions increasingly emphasize certain ideological frameworks, wider cultural narratives also contribute to this phenomenon. Media portrayals and cultural products often reinforce leftist ideologies, promoting narratives around victimhood, systemic oppression, and calls for social justice. Gross, 2020. Through platforms like social media, these messages penetrate deeply into public consciousness, creating echo chambers that reinforce leftist beliefs without significant pushback from opposing viewpoints. In this environment, individuals are often exposed to curated information that aligns with their existing beliefs. Algorithms on social media platforms, designed to maximize user engagement, play a pivotal role in shaping ideological identity. The result is an amplification of specific narratives that further solidify leftist beliefs while marginalizing dissent. Fekci, 2017. These dynamics do not merely promote traditional educational paradigms. They promote a worldview that can sometimes eschew critical inquiry in favor of ideological affirmation. The impact of identity politics. An important aspect of contemporary leftist thought is identity politics, which has reshaped discussions around race, gender, and sexual orientation. While identity politics aims to elevate the voices of underrepresented groups, it can lead to a narrow focus on experiences that may overlook broader societal issues. The emphasis on identity over universal class or economic struggles has led to fragmentation within leftist movements, as individuals become more defined by their identity categories than by shared political agendas. Hayes, 2019. This fragmentation can dilute educational experiences, making it challenging to form cohesive arguments and coalitions on broader issues. Instead of cultivating an understanding of diverse philosophical foundations, the focus on identity can inadvertently narrow educational perspectives, limiting engagement with critical economic and social theories that could enrich ideological discourse. Effects of indoctrination on critical thinking. The implications of ideological indoctrination are profound. As students increasingly consume information that resonates with their politically correct views, their ability to think critically may diminish, resulting in a form of intellectual stagnation. The very foundation of education is to cultivate independent thinkers who can navigate complex political landscapes. However, when educational systems prioritize compliance over inquiry, the consequences can be detrimental. This diminishment of critical thinking manifests in several ways, including the rise of cancel culture, where dissenting opinions are often swiftly marginalized or attacked. Individuals may avoid engaging with opposing viewpoints for fear of repercussions, hindering the robust exchange of ideas necessary to a healthy democracy. Blair, 2020. This climate makes it challenging to advocate for oneself, as individuals steered by indoctrination may lash out violently against the very ideals of free speech and debate upon which academic institutions were built. Potential future implications. The trajectory of the left suggests an increasing polarization within society, driven by both educational practices and ideological fervor. As the divide grows, those on the left may find themselves increasingly isolated within their ideological enclaves. The risk of echo chambers leads to a disconnection from mainstream political discourse and further exacerbates misunderstanding and hostility toward opposing perspectives. For the left to reclaim its historical role as a champion of progress and inclusivity, it becomes essential to address these educational challenges. By reinvigorating a focus on critical thinking and encouraging dissent in thought processes, the left can create an environment where diverse ideas coexist. This reconciliation may serve not only to enhance educational outcomes but also to contribute to a more vibrant intellectual public sphere. Conclusion. In conclusion, the development of a poorly educated yet highly indoctrinated left represents a complex interplay of historical, cultural, and institutional factors. While advocating for social justice and equity, the left faces significant challenges in fostering critical thinking and open discourse. To navigate the future effectively, it is crucial for educational institutions and cultural narratives to promote a more nuanced understanding of ideologies, transform pedagogical practices, and reinstate the values of inquiry and debate. Without these changes, the ideological divides will only widen, jeopardizing both educational integrity and societal cohesion.
Just something popped into my head because people are just throwing it away. Civil rights, Robert Reich, I show you one of his. Which to me sounds remarkably like someone wants to start an insurrection. We have to get these duly elected officials out of office. Well, that would be called an insurrection. Anyway, I just want to throw a challenge out there to all these leftists. Well, first I want to give you a little bit of reality here. The reality is we all have the same rights, at least in America. I live in Brazil. The rights are a little... Anyway, but in America, you all have the same rights. I hate to break it to y'all. You don't all have the same abilities. If you're a fucking idiot, you should not be making as much as, let's say, a plumber. If the best you can do is cook a hamburger with a timer, you should not be making as much as a fucking plumber. Okay? Didn't think I had to say that, but I guess I did because y'all fucking retarded. Now let me get to the challenge. I want any of you leftists to tell me what rights you don't have in the United States right now. I'll be waiting. Now remember I said I liked watching boat videos and camper videos because they don't make those in Brazil. So this is that Ben's campers I was talking about. He's got some really low prices on campers. They're kind of old, but they're usually in pretty good shape. They may need a little work, but I watch his videos all the time. It just seems like someone I'd buy a camper from. This is a 1985 Layton 32-foot camper. This is an older video too, so he sold it already. But yeah, I paid $500 for my camper. That was from a friend. So this one's probably going to be in better shape though.
Hey folks, this is Ben with Ben's Campers here in Monongahela, PA, and today we're going to take a look at this unit for sale at the shop. This is a 1985 Skyline Nomad 32-footer. I've known the previous owner of this unit for a very long time, and it has been pretty well cared for over the years. It's not perfect, but we're letting this one go at $2,650, $2,650. As always, we have a clean and clear title. And this unit does have 4 new tires, and it's in pretty good shape. It shows pretty well. Everything is working. We're doing a couple minor repairs to it before anybody takes ownership of it. We have a new propane regulator coming, the one on it's leaking, and a new kitchen faucet is coming. That is also leaking, but that way the plumbing will work. Propane flow is fine. Furnace, hot water, all functional. Refrigerator is older, but it is functional, and this unit does not have an air conditioner, so keep that in mind. I'll show you inside that it does have a circuit for one if you would want to add one. This is a longer camper than I usually really get into, but like I say, I knew the owner and I know that it was well cared for, so I didn't hesitate. No leaks on this one. I mean, it's had some water in the ceiling in the past. We'll look inside, but it's not bad at all. It's nice and dry, nice and solid. No split corners, no sagging on the frame. All the running lights and brakes all working. 4 new tires. I don't know if I said that. 4 new Trailer King tires on there. Just towed it 150 miles, so no problems in that department. And you know, sold a lot of campers over the last couple of years that people used as a residence, you know, temporary residence or a, you know, seasonal residence, whatever. This would really be a good one for that. It's probably a little longer than you want to tow around. I know people tow longer ones, I guess, but that's just my opinion. There's the furnace exhaust there. Again, 4 new tires. All the plastic trim looking good. You know, this one's going to need some TLC. You know, it's missing some of the running light covers. We'll get some new tail light covers on it, or at least the bulbs. All the windows looking good, no broken glass. The door looks good. It's got a non-original handle. We're going to put a new screen in here for you. So let's go inside. Let's journey back to 1985. Yeah, it looks pretty good. It smells fresh. It's pretty clean. We bleached. You know, we like to keep things sanitary and bleach everything down. Ceiling looks good. Oops, dropped my sunglasses. Lots of cabinets.
It actually looks like a longer version of the camper I had.
That folds out.
Right there's on that stand is where I kept my
see
TV.
some water stains and stuff in this one. I mean, it is what it is. Nice and dry inside though, not musty or anything. It does have actually a working stereo with speakers.
Right there's where my stereo was, but it didn't work. That looks like the camper I had.
Stove and everything working. There's that.
It's the exact same model.
It might be original to this camper, but it does function. The door doesn't quite shut right.
No, our fridge was shorter.
You know, it just needs some TLC. It's got like broken trim and stuff here and there.
Yeah,
that's in nice shape. No soft
literally the exact same camper.
Excuse me, soft spots in the floor. If any of the rooms really need work, it's this bedroom. See some water stains going on. It's not rotten and gross, but that corner there is soft. Looks like somebody tried to fix it once. And then it's got this double bed set up for couples that don't sleep well together, I guess. But, you know, maybe you could take them out and put a single, whatever you want to do. You know, the ceiling, I'd say that's the worst of it. Somebody painted the ceiling in here, you know, to cover the water stains. But, so, I mean, it is soft, but it's not a total rotten basket case. So for $26.50,
my roof never leaked, so that was kind of cool.
It's a pretty solid, dry,
for $500
clean camper.
Not going to complain.
I mean, I'd say it's about as nice as they get. There's where that's an AC circuit there. We'll put a cover on that, but this is where an air conditioner would be if you do want to add one. I've never seen these kind of stainless steel vents.
That's aftermarket.
Working of these, they got spot welds on them. That raised the vent far off the roof so that I guess it prevents leaking. Kind of interesting. Let's check out the bathroom. Nice
yeah, the exact same bathroom, everything.
Again, nice and clean. We bleach everything down. And had some burned out light bulbs in this one. I'm going to replace them. We're not going to do all LEDs. You know, we're not dumping a bunch of money as a shop into this one. We're just going to make sure it's safe and clean and usable. And I'm sure that the buyer, you know, will want to put their own twist on this one and do some repairs and maybe a makeover. So, yeah, appreciate you guys watching as always. I can't help but notice that the channel is growing very rapidly in the last few days, so I really appreciate all that. Appreciate everybody that reaches out to me.
Yeah, that's the exact same model I had at the campground.
You know, from all over the country, really. If I ever don't reply, it's nothing personal, or if I take a while to reply, I'm just really busy, and I'm only a one-man show. That's how I'm really able to offer. You know, I don't think there's anybody else working to provide $2,600 campers to the public because they don't make any money on them. So just on an island out here. But yeah, appreciate you guys again. Please like and subscribe, and God bless y'all. We'll see you with the next one.
That is literally almost the exact same model I had at our campground. It used to be known as Yogi and Boo Boo's. I can't remember what it's called now. That's literally almost the exact same model.
The Blood-Stained Banner. A look at the failures of socialism and communism. In a world where ideologies clash and the ghosts of history loom large, the Blood-Stained Banner emerges as a powerful exposé of the dark realities behind socialism and communism. This meticulously researched work delves deep into the myths and misconceptions surrounding these ideologies, revealing the stark truths that have shaped nations and altered lives. From the seductive allure of Scandinavian socialism to the grim legacies of communist dictatorship across the globe, each chapter meticulously dissects the failures of these systems. Explore the myth of Nordic success and uncover the historical context that debunks the notion of true socialism in these countries. Engage with a thorough analytical analysis that juxtaposes socialism and capitalism, illuminating the impact of economic systems on innovation, work ethic, and individual creativity. The Blood-Stained Banner takes readers on a harrowing journey through the 20th century, chronicling the staggering human cost of communist regimes from Azerbaijan to Vietnam. With an unflinching eye, it reveals how these ideologies often lead to dictatorship, oppression, and unimaginable suffering. As the book navigates through the labyrinth of leftist excuses and arguments for capitalism, it challenges readers to reconsider the narratives that have dominated political discourse for decades. This is not just a book for the politically inclined, it is a clarion call for anyone who seeks to understand the implications of economic systems on human lives. With a tone that is both formal and engaging, The Blood-Stained Banner invites readers to confront uncomfortable truths and fosters critical thinking about the ideologies that shape our world. Are you ready to challenge your beliefs and confront the harsh realities of socialism and communism? Pick up The Blood-Stained Banner today and embark on a journey that promises to enlighten, provoke, and inspire.
Damn, an imbecile. Like the dumbest motherfucker that ever lived. Everybody knows you never go full retard. You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Yeah, I ain't read shit. So you admittedly haven't read the book you said to know the difference too?
What are you babbling about, Captain Seroquel? The doctor still playing with your dosage? SRY gene. Sex determining region Y. Not your feelings, genetics. Normal function. The SRY gene, an essential component located on the Y chromosome, plays a pivotal role in sex determination and the development of male characteristics. It encodes the sex-determining region Y protein, which acts as a transcription factor. This means that it binds to specific DNA sequences, thereby regulating the expression of genes crucial for male typical sex development. In humans, the typical chromosomal arrangement includes 46 chromosomes, with 2 designated as sex chromosomes, X and Y. The presence of these chromosomes is fundamental in determining an individual's sexual phenotype. Females generally possess 2 X chromosomes, 46, XX karyotype, while males have 1 X and 1 Y chromosome, 46, XY karyotype. The SRY gene initiates a cascade of biological processes that lead to the formation of male gonads, specifically, the testes, and simultaneously inhibits the development of female reproductive structures such as the uterus and fallopian tubes. This intricate balance is crucial for proper sexual differentiation during fetal development. Health conditions related to genetic changes. Variants or mutations in the SRY gene can lead to several health conditions that disrupt normal sexual development. One notable condition is Swyer syndrome, also known as 46, XY complete gonadal dysgenesis or 46, XY pure gonadal dysgenesis. Approximately 15% of individuals diagnosed with Swyer syndrome exhibit variants in the SRY gene. Despite possessing a male typical chromosome pattern, 46, XY karyotype, these individuals develop female typical physical characteristics due to ineffective or absent production of the sex-determining region Y protein. The lack of functional SRY protein results in the failure to develop testes, leading instead to the formation of female reproductive structures like a uterus and fallopian tubes, even though their chromosomal makeup suggests otherwise. Another condition linked to alterations in the SRY gene is 46, XX testicular difference of sex development. Individuals with this condition possess a female typical chromosomal pattern, 46, XX karyotype, but develop male sex characteristics, including the presence of testes that may be underdeveloped or undescended. This condition often arises from an abnormal genetic exchange known as translocation between the Y chromosome and another chromosome, most frequently the X chromosome, during spermatogenesis in the father. As a result, when the SRY gene is translocated onto an X chromosome, it can still trigger male sex development pathways in a fetus that does not have a Y chromosome. Other disorders. Further complications arise from variants in the SRY gene that impair its function, leading to conditions such as 46, XY difference of sex development or partial gonadal dysgenesis. In these cases, individuals maintain a male typical chromosomal pattern, 46, XY karyotype, but present with ambiguous external genitalia or other reproductive organ abnormalities that do not distinctly align with typical male or female characteristics. The severity of these variants tends to be less pronounced than those causing Swyer syndrome but still results in significant variations in sexual development. Additionally, translocations that misplace the SRY gene onto an X chromosome contribute to about 10% of cases of ovotesticular difference of sex development. Individuals with this condition exhibit a female typical chromosomal pattern, 46, XX karyotype, but possess both ovarian and testicular tissues within their bodies. This complex interplay of genetic factors highlights the multifaceted nature of sexual differentiation and underscores how variations in a single gene can lead to diverse developmental outcomes. Other names for this gene. The SRY gene is known by several alternative names that reflect its critical function in male sex determination and its biological significance. These include essential protein for sex determination in human males, sex-determining region protein, sex-determining region on Y, SRY_human, TDF, testis-determining factor, TDY, testis-determining Y, and other related designations. Each name underscores different aspects of its role in genetics and developmental biology. In summary, understanding the SRY gene and its associated functions provides valuable insights into human sexual development and highlights how genetic variations can lead to various disorders affecting this intricate process. The study of these conditions not only furthers our comprehension of human biology but also emphasizes the importance of genetic research in addressing health challenges related to sexual differentiation. So, your genes determine your gender, not your imagination.
In their colonies. Dust Bowl, the famines engineered by the English in their colonies, people who, right now, don't have access to food, land, and shelter because wealth is being hoarded by people who don't produce it. The U.S.'s disastrous interventions worldwide, austerity politics imposed by local government with the World Bank, UN IMF telling them to, and more. All of it and more as a consequence of capitalism. I haven't grown up in the US, but if what you said is true, that's under capitalism. So that's just how it works out.
You didn't grow up in the US. I guess leftists are dumb everywhere. The blood-stained banner. A look at the failures of socialism and communism. In a world where ideologies clash and the ghosts of history loom large, the blood-stained banner emerges as a powerful exposé of the dark realities behind socialism and communism. This meticulously researched work delves deep into the myths and misconceptions surrounding these ideologies, revealing the stark truths that have shaped nations and altered lives. From the seductive allure of Scandinavian socialism to the grim legacies of communist dictatorship across the globe, each chapter meticulously dissects the failures of these systems. Explore the myth of Nordic success and uncover the historical context that debunks the notion of true socialism in these countries. Engage with a thorough analytical analysis that juxtaposes socialism and capitalism, illuminating the impact of economic systems on innovation, work ethic, and individual creativity. The Blood-Stained Banner takes readers on a harrowing journey through the 20th century, chronicling the staggering human cost of communist regimes from Azerbaijan to Vietnam. With an unflinching eye, it reveals how these ideologies often lead to dictatorship, oppression, and unimaginable suffering. As the book navigates through the labyrinth of leftist excuses and arguments for capitalism, it challenges readers to reconsider the narratives that have dominated political discourse for decades. This is not just a book for the politically inclined. It is a clarion call for anyone who seeks to understand the implications of economic systems on human lives. With a tone that is both formal and engaging, The Blood-Stained Banner invites readers to confront uncomfortable truths and fosters critical thinking about the ideologies that shape our world. Are you ready to challenge your beliefs and confront the harsh realities of socialism and communism? Pick up The Blood-Stained Banner today and embark on a journey that promises to enlighten, provoke, and inspire.
And defend him? Come on, let's see the courage of your conviction. Come on, let's do it. You know what I find particularly funny? I have been posting different things about all of the shenanigans that Trump and his ilk have been doing. And after every post, I've been posting, you own this. Now you defend it. You voted for this.
Ending the conflict in Ukraine should be a priority for the international community. A peaceful resolution not only serves the interest of those directly affected, but also contributes to global stability. Reinforcing the values of scientific integrity is vital in today's society, ensuring that all individuals compete on a level playing field, particularly in educational and athletic contexts, upholds the principles of fairness and equity. In other words, no boys beating up on girls. Taking ownership of one's decisions is an admirable trait in any democratic society. Voting reflects our values and priorities, and it's important to stand by those choices with conviction. Your turn. Your turn. A sniffy Joe or cackling dingus accomplishment, and it can't be one of the lies the mainstream media fed you. The 4.2% growth in the second quarter of 2018 under the Trump administration is a noteworthy achievement that reflects the impact of various economic policies implemented during that period. This growth rate not only signifies a robust economy, but also highlights the effectiveness of tax reforms and deregulation efforts aimed at stimulating business investment and consumer spending. It will be interesting to analyze how these policies have influenced long-term economic trends and their implications for future administrations. Looks like I do have some fans out there. Oh yeah, the History Underground, he did something on the 28th Division. I was with the 2nd Brigade of the 28th in Ramadi.
All right, let's go. Oh! You like that, old man? You want a piece of me? I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
I have to do it again. I accidentally hit pause.
All right, let's go. Oh! You like that, old man? You want a piece of me? I don't want a piece of you. I want the whole thing.
Let's see the loony leftist comments in here. Oh, there's one. Then you surely must be brain damaged. They always have the witty comebacks. Might need a mental health evaluation. Remember though, these are the people that think men can get pregnant. Let's see if I can sell a book or something. Not that people read anymore, or we wouldn't see stupid comments like that.
The book outlines various significant policies and actions taken by the Trump administration across multiple domains, including trade, energy, foreign policy, defense, and veterans affairs. In trade, the administration achieved notable victories such as winning a WTO dispute against Indonesia regarding agricultural export restrictions and facilitating American exports of pork and beef to key markets like Argentina and China. Financial support programs for farmers were also implemented to mitigate trade impacts. In the energy sector, the Trump administration focused on deregulation and expansion, exemplified by the presidential memoranda supporting the Keystone XL and Dakota Access pipelines. The administration oversaw a surge in coal exports and a significant increase in U.S. oil production, positioning the country as the largest crude oil producer globally. Key shifts included rescinding the Clean Power Plan in favor of the Affordable Clean Energy Rule and withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement. Foreign policy initiatives included relocating the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem, withdrawing from the Iran nuclear deal, and imposing sanctions on Iran and Venezuela. The administration engaged in historic diplomatic efforts with North Korea, including a summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un, which aimed at denuclearization. Additionally, responses to Syria's chemical weapons use involved targeted airstrikes. In defense, the administration increased military funding, implemented a new nuclear posture review, and established America's first comprehensive cyber strategy in 15 years. The administration also focused on NATO spending, pushing member countries to increase their defense budgets. Finally, in Veterans Affairs, significant reforms were introduced, including enhancements in veteran care through the VA Accountability Act and expansion of telehealth services. The administration worked on modernizing the VA's infrastructure and improving access to mental health treatment while increasing transparency and accountability within the department. Overall, these actions reflect a comprehensive approach by the Trump administration aimed at reshaping American policies across various sectors during its first 4 years. The American left. From liberalism to despotism. This comprehensive examination of the American left traces its evolution from classical liberalism to contemporary radical ideologies and critiques. The introduction sets the stage for understanding the foundations of American political thought, highlighting the origins and characteristics of liberalism. In Chapter 1, the text delves into the philosophical underpinnings of liberalism, emphasizing the influence of thinkers like John Dewey and the implications of Freudian psychology. Subsequent chapters explore significant historical events, such as the New Deal and World War II, which transformed liberalism into quantitative and qualitative forms, respectively. The rise of the radical left is discussed in Chapter 5, where existentialist critiques and C. Wright Mill's perspectives on power structures are analyzed. The civil rights movement and its complexities are examined in Chapter 6, revealing diverging ideologies within black communities and shifts in leadership perspectives, particularly Martin Luther King Jr.'s evolving views. The emergence of the student New Left in Chapter 7 reflects broader societal changes and critiques surrounding identity politics, which are further explored in Chapter 12. The feminist movement's dynamics are outlined in Chapter 8, detailing its evolution and impact on societal norms, while Chapter 9 addresses the sexual revolution's significance in reshaping sexual norms and politics. As radical ideologies infiltrate institutions, Chapter 10, the narrative transitions to the emergence of neoliberal consensus in Chapter 11, marking a philosophical shift away from traditional liberalism. The final chapters critically assess identity politics and discuss the potential drift towards despotism within leftist movements, highlighting issues such as censorship and the weaponization of justice. Overall, this work provides a detailed analysis of how American leftist thought has transformed over time, raising important questions about freedom, identity politics, and the future direction of political discourse in America.
I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun, and the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again.
This guy is fucking stupid!
Are you fucking getting it yet?
Flash, cameras clicking quick. Showtime, Super Gringo slick. Headlines buzzing like a mix. 20 seconds, that's the fix. Short and sharp, just like a dart. Gringo's antics steal your heart. In a flash, the show will start. Super shorts, that's where we part. Short and sharp, just like a dart. Gringo's antics steal your heart. In a flash, the show will start. Super shorts, that's where we part.